Welcome to Art of Wellness Unscripted, the podcast where we dive deep into holistic health, real conversations, and the journey to living your best, most vibrant life. I'm your host, Amara Tiller, and each week we'll explore the art and science of wellness with inspiring guests, expert insights, and practical tips you can use every day. Today I have a new guest. Her name is Hannah, all the way from Texas. She's a chiropractor. Could you tell us about her? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Dr. Hannah Donahoe. I am a chiropractor and a facilitator of healing. I facilitate healing in the forms of chiropractic as I own the Source Chiropractic in Dallas. It is amazing. It's been such a journey to just help people heal in a really natural way.
Nice, I love that. So what happened in your life to put you in that career path of being a chiropractor?
I love this story because it's so fun and so rare. So I was part of the few that was graduating college during 2020. So I was on a medical track. I was doing surgical residencies, on mission trips, and just getting hands-on in the surgical field. I was looking at PA school, medical school, just really indoctrinated into the medical society. I was out of medical school. That's kind of just what you did after undergrad. And then COVID hit, and something in me was like, this is fishy. I don't know. I started seeing through the fog of what Western medicine is, and I was like, this is not helping people. This is just putting them further into disease. I was from Mississippi, so we didn't really have chiropractic big there. Natural health is not really big there. So I was just, grocery shopping at a Whole Foods. This woman in a parking lot walked up to me and said, she just walked up to me, grabbed me, and was like, hi, you should be a chiropractor. As the sane human I am, I was like, oh, okay. Went home, applied that night, started 2 weeks later, never going to a chiropractor, never knowing, honestly, now that I look back on it, I did not know what chiropractic was. So fell in love with it. Once I got into school, I just dove in head first. It was a complete, God just picked me up and placed me in chiropractic school, and I've been chasing the obsession of chiropractic ever since I started. It has been a journey and a half of healing myself, but really just falling in love with what chiropractic is and what this profession is. It's been a blessing. And just total God thing of how I got into it.
Yeah, I love that story. That's awesome. So if you did it during COVID years, you've been in practice for about 4 years now?
So I've actually only been in practice for a year. It's really,
okay.
So many people are thinking I've been in this practice for a long time. I've been training for about 5 years. However, I've been open. The doors have been open for a year, almost, over a year. So we've just been trailblazing. We've been talking to as many people as we can, fully confident. They told us in school, you're not going to really do much until 3 to 5 years. And I took that as a challenge. I was like, no, that's not, I'm going to hit the ground running, helping people heal, which is what I took school for. School was 3.5 years. So I was like, I've got time to figure this out. I'm going to figure it out so that when I do graduate, I'm prepared for what's to come. And I'm prepared to just step into the role of a healing facilitator because I'd been doing it for 3 years already. So.
What is on your own personal journey to healing, what is the biggest impact that you've received from chiropractic care?
Oh my gosh. One, stability, first of all. So as just a little background, I was a very nervous kid, very ADHD, very the quiet autistic girl. I was diagnosed with autism. They tried to give me all these different diagnoses, audio response. My brain didn't process things. They were just trying to label all of these diagnoses on me. So I never knew chiropractic was an answer. So when I got into chiropractic school, I was fighting the medical system of I know taking drugs, I don't want to take Adderall, I don't want to do all of this. I had the healthy gut biome. I was just trying to supplement with food, but never knew that there was a nervous system reset that was needed to happen. So when I got into school, I started experiencing what care looked like and started experiencing my nervous system resetting, learning that all of my neurodivergent pathways are actual superpowers when in a controlled state of a nervous system. Before that, it was just chaos. I was just running 1,000 miles a minute and unable to be, I mean, it's really crazy now that I think back at it, because as a kid, I wasn't able to go in airports. Like, airports terrified me. I wasn't able to be in that loud environment with that many people. I mean, I was like attached to my mom's leg. When now I did a solo trip a couple months ago to Australia, no problem. I was in 5 different airports in one day. And it's like, that was the true testament of what chiropractic care looks like. I mean, giving stability to people that maybe not have had it. That was my experience with it.
I'm not familiar with chiropractic care, to be honest. I've never been to a chiropractor, so this is new to me. So when it's helping your nervous system, like I've received like energy work done by naturopaths, and that helped my nervous system. So what does like helping your nervous system and chiropractic care look like? Is it different adjustments that allow like the fascia and everything to just flow properly?
Absolutely, you just said it. It is the inner woundings between the nervous system, the fascial system, and then I do tie in some energetic principles because we have an energetic body that relates off about 3 to 6 feet off of the body. I tie that in as well. Our nervous system is the control center. So the way I start to help understand and help clients understand what we're doing, because a lot of people are scared of chiropractic, or the other hand is that they don't know what chiropractic is because there's so many different flavors in the profession. So that's my education piece when I start talking to people. The nervous system is your control center. It is how our body innately communicates to our brain. So our brain to our body and our body back to our brain. It's almost like this communication system that has to run, and it runs unconsciously. Where we start to tie into more things is how does that fascial system start to relate to the nervous system? So the nervous system communicates to that fascial system, and that fascial system communicates back to the nervous system, as well as every other system in the body. I mean, the musculoskeletal system that controls our muscles, our lymphatic system is controlled by our nervous system. So going into all of those systems, and the beauty of chiropractic is that we're looking at the whole. Because the nervous system controls everything, we are not looking at little bitty pieces or those segmented systems. We're looking at the whole thing and seeing, okay, what is not working properly, where there is dis-ease that will then, or has already led to disease. That's really what I start talking about with clients, is that we're clearing the interference. Something has come in, whether it's, we call it the 3 T's, trauma, toxins, traumas, and thoughts. Something has interfered with the communication system. Something is stopping, or an analogy I use is like almost kinking a hose, where it's just dribbling out information, and we want to restore that communication where it's an open flow. That way our brain can receive those signals and communicate back what it needs. The body, it's really just telling us what we need. It's just making sure that our brain and our body are communicating it effectively. That's what chiropractic is to its root.
I remember when I started my naturopathic program, I'm trying to remember what class exactly, but they touched on chiropractic care and like the person who came up with everything. Mm-hmm. And wasn't the story about how he like worked on the cleaning guy or something?
Yeah, so Dee Palmer, we were just in Davenport and saw his house, which is wild. I think everyone should do that, even if you're not a total geek about chiropractic. The stuff that man has in his house from just the lives that he has lived is amazing. But yeah, he actually was adjusting the janitor, and he sent an adjustment through his spine, and the janitor actually was deaf and could not hear. And so after the adjustment, it restored his hearing. He was able to actually heal and hear at the same time. So after that, Dee Palmer really started going into the access to health, and the access of clearing disease is through clearing the interference and making sure that the body is communicating to the brain.
Nice. For your schooling or training, did they touch on the dangers of vaccines and how that can show up in chiropractic care?
Oh yes. Oh yes. That's what we're really starting to see, especially with more of the COVID stuff coming out. The one vaccine, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose it. It is the vaccine that most women from the age of, we got it when we were 15. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Gardasil.
The Gardasil vaccine. Probably starts with a G. The Gardasil vaccine is actually the one that shows up in my day-to-day practice. Almost every woman that comes in, because I am a little bit of a specialty right now, my focus towards the end of the year is helping women heal. And what I am seeing is that vaccine, every woman that comes in usually has a relation to PCOS, endometriosis, some type of cyst. When I start to ask, they either got the vaccine or there's someone in their household has had the vaccine. A sister or someone in relation where they were in close quarters to had that vaccine, which is wild to think about. And we started talking about it during COVID, that there were a lot of chiropractors who closed their offices during that time because they saw the effects of just being in relation to someone who had the vaccine was creating, which just proves our energetic point and the energetic field and how powerful it truly is, that laying next to someone with a vaccine and coming in contact with them has effects even if you didn't get it, which is very scary in my mind, and where, because we protect ourselves, but how do you know the repercussions and what it looks like? I mean, because we're just now realizing that. I don't think anybody's really putting that together, that vaccine that young girls got because we were told it was safe is now causing infertility in a massive amount of women.
Yes, I actually received that vaccine, and I'm having fertility issues myself, so I'm living that. But I was told that I had celiac many years ago, probably like 10 years ago now, and that's kind of what started my health journey. Is I was like, it felt like I was failed by the doctors, and they're like, oh, you're allergic to gluten. That just didn't sound right to me. And so I kept digging, and then I learned it's actually the pesticides that they spray on the crop and the synthetic folate that they spray on the crop that we're all reacting to. And so if I just cut that out of my diet, all of a sudden I no longer have a problem with gluten.
That's amazing.
You just feel the gut.
I see that every single day, and it's so powerful that just a little bit of education can really clear up most of these things that people struggle with their entire lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, on the note about like vaccine shedding, which I feel like majority of people have no idea that this is really a thing. And not only is it a thing, but it's listed in the vaccine inserts itself that this happens. And I believe it's like for 21 days, the vaccine inserts will state that you can shed. Yes. So like if you think all the children who go to school in the beginning of the school year, and they all just got all those fresh vaccines, and then you have all these like outbreaks or whatever they want to claim that they are. Yeah, I remember learning about. There was a military ship, and there was a measles outbreak on the ship, but every single person on that ship was vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what are we doing? What are we doing? It's so crazy too because it says it in the fine print. What my favorite thing is all of these ads that are now coming across on our TV for all of these medications. If you read that fine print or just listen, because they have to say it, they have to tell you. And I'm like, can we use common sense? Because they're clearly stating it causes amenorrhea symptoms. It could shut down. I heard one the other day. It was like, it could shut down your nervous system. And I was like, that's not the trade-off that we need to be accepting. Wild.
Yeah, I actually have a book. It's called Vaccine on Trial, I believe, and it's about the Gardasil vaccine. And I think Robert F. Kennedy might be a co-author on this one. I'm trying to remember. But in that book, it talks about how different countries that was given the vaccine got different batches. Oh, yeah.
I have not heard about
thing? Oh, yes. Actually, in India, the government banned that vaccine and Bill Gates from giving it because it was causing the women to be infertile, and they figured it out. And not only that, there's reports of women who who got the vaccine and then tested positive for HPV. So it has HPV in it. It gives women HPV.
Wild.
Like, I know so many girls, because I'm about to be 35, I know so many girls that I went to high school with. We're talking women that maybe only had 1 to 2 sexual partners that tested positive for HPV after getting that vaccine.
Wild. It's so wild. I mean, and I hate that our world is not educated enough to even look at the ingredient list, because that's where I go. I immediately go to see what is in this thing. And if you look at the ingredients, it's a red flag walking. It's wild, but we're pushing it. People that we trust are pushing it, so that way everyone's like, oh, it's chill, it's comfortable. But when did we lose our conscious awareness for actually researching things for ourselves and understanding, is this suitable for my family or myself?
Right. Did you see yesterday the Senate hearing on the vaccines that was going on? Did you see any footage about that?
I didn't. Please tell me.
They released a study that was done a few years ago that was actually hidden. It was done at the Henry Ford Hospital in Michigan, and it took, there was like 2,000 patients that were unvaccinated, and they compared it to 10,000 patients that were vaccinated, and it was clear as day. There was 0 occurrences of people having ADHD in the non-vaccinated. But everything else was like 6 times more likely to have an autoimmune disease, 6 times more likely to have ADHD, all those things. But yeah, this is the people who did this study. They were scared once they realized what they figured out. They were scared what was going to happen, so they tried to hide it and cover it up, and now it's out.
That is wild. And that's where this reminds me of a really good story. So there's actually, I was going into, just with all the stuff of winter and fall and kids are going back to school, there's now germ awareness, which I despise. Like walking into our health food store, there is a sign where you can pick up your masks and pick up and hand sanitize. And I'm like, 1, this is a health food store. What are we doing? 2, you see people just like coating themselves with hand sanitizer, putting on these masks again. And I so immediately started looking back to it because we learned about germ theory in chiropractic school. So I started digging and just researching, and the guy who actually created germ theory and which his last name is Pasteur, which is where pasteurization came through, he basically said that the pasteurization, the sanitation, all of the stuff on vaccination, all of his evidence on his deathbed, he said was false and was falsified, and that he over-exaggerated it to make a claim. And there's no official record, but everyone who was there was like, yeah, he basically said it was all fake, which we all maintain all of that stuff still today, if not put more emphasis on it, which is...
Yeah. I remember in my naturopathic program, in like one of the beginner classes where they go over like bacteria and parasites and viruses. And once they got to the virus, like the image that they use for a virus, just to me, that doesn't look anything natural. Like, what? Like, okay, bacteria, that looks natural, you know, parasites, sure, but this image of a virus, it looks like a little robot. It doesn't look like, you know, and I remember I felt like my ADHD was kicking in during that time where I couldn't even focus on what they were teaching me because my intuition knew that's not right. This is not right, so just don't even focus. And then I like did a research paper, speaking of chiropractors, of Dr. Brian Ardis and the research coming out about venom and the role that's playing with viruses. And I was like, wait, what? This is crazy. So I had to dive into that because I'm like, what do you mean there's venom? It's actually venom and it's not a virus. And I found in the COVID patent, and I have it memorized of the exact section where it talks about this. It's section 3.2.1, because you can remember 321. It literally talks about how venom was used in the development of the COVID vaccine.
That's crazy.
This is a Pfizer patent that talks about that.
Crazy.
Yeah. Like, what?
That, it blows my mind what... And we believe, what's really crazy is that we believe in all of that, but it's so hard to comprehend that the body heals itself. Blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like what we're doing over here is quote unquote witchcraft, but piecing together toxins and putting it into your body is acceptable. I'm very confused with that narrative.
Then I learned, I'm just continuing to follow Brian Artis now because I'm completely obsessed with him because he's just sharing the craziest stuff. He discovered that Roundup, he got it tested. It literally tested for different types of venom in Roundup. So what they do is they like dehydrate it and put it in like a powder form, and that is what they're using for pesticides. So they're using venom on our crops. They're using venom in cosmetics, venom in pharmaceuticals like Ozempic, all of the GLP-1 weight loss drugs.
Yep.
And yeah, pretty wild.
That's where the women industry, I've really been focusing on it and diving into it. There's so many toxins, and I believe that's why women have such high infertility and problems with our cycle, is that we are definitely, absolutely exposed to way more toxins than most of the population in men.
I also have a feeling that not only the toxins, but like ever since like COVID, what they've amped up when it comes to like the 5G and the EMFs that we're exposed to now, it's insane.
Absolutely. I was talking to we're currently looking for a house right now, and we had a realtor and we noticed all of the 5G towers were right by the house. And I was like, is this disclosed anywhere? And she goes, no, it's not, because we had no idea until we showed up at the property and saw a 5G tower sitting right next to the home. And it's in a neighborhood. And I was like, is there disclosure and warning people about this? And she's like, sadly, no.
There's actually a website, I'm trying to remember what it is. It's like antenna search that you can type in your address and it'll tell you in radius of every single tower that's near you, how far away it is. It'll even tell you who the owner is and their contact information if you want to contact them. So you can give them a call. But yeah, you can, I mean, like if you guys look at another house, I would just pop in that address and then see.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was just watching a video of Evan Brand, I believe is his name, and he was talking about recommending to clients to, when they're house hunting, to get a house that has the electrical lines buried underground as opposed to having it above ground. And I'm like, oh.
There's so much that we have just scratched the surface of understanding. It's wild.
Yeah, I used to work for a utility company in my city, and I worked in customer service. So I was taking the phone calls of people calling in, claiming that their smart meter was making them sick. And we were trained to not take these concerns seriously. It's kind of like the attitude internally in the office. And then when I started my naturopathic program, and my very first class that I took, the doctor teaching was like, smart meters are really bad because of EMFs. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, also fluoride's really bad. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Like, this is my job, is to defend this company on these issues. And here I am being taught the opposite of what I've been told.
I love it. I love it.
How to make a career change.
We need the challenge. We need the conscious upgrade, really. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are other things that you're helping with women specifically besides fertility? You're helping with their nervous system. What else?
I really have been helping women with cycle regaining. So I have a lot of clients that are coming to me that have had their cycle just completely shut off, or we're having deep symptoms of deep cramps, headaches, or migraines even that are just debilitating them from working, heavy cravings, things like pelvic pain that can't really shake, whether it's only in that cycle, or I do have a lot of women that have pelvic pain throughout their entire day, like 28-day cycle, all of that every day has pain in your pelvis, which women should not be experiencing. Yeah. Or migraines randomly, the lack of focus, of feeling disconnected, or even like painful sex comes into play, where it's like women can't enjoy sex without a deep ache in their pelvis or just sharp pains to the extreme. So I'm helping women help reduce the tension in pelvic floor, regain their cycle, helping shrink some cysts with the simple as castor oil packs, and helping that nervous system kind of rejuvenate that life that's down there. When we get to this point of our cycle being disconnected from, it really lowers women's energy. We get disconnected, that's where depression starts to creep in. That is where losing our focus, our energy, and our passion, all of that is in that pelvic floor and in that lower center. So when we lose that disconnection with our cycle, we're also losing a little bit of disconnection with ourselves. So that's where I go leading and facilitating healing of the physical, but also reconnecting people back to their purpose and who they are as people. Because I think that's the potency of women, is that we are connected to our cycle. Because the most powerful, you look into indigenous medicine, the most powerful thing is a woman on her cycle, and every single tribe and culture shows that. Yet in going back to the vaccines and all of the stuff that toxins on women, I think that's their strategy going into like whatever conspiracy theories you want to think of. That is the strategy of the government, is to really mute us and mute our power, because everything leads to is disrupting our cycle. And how do you dismantle a woman is through her cycle and making her disconnect from it, because then she can disconnect from herself and her family.
I recently started a little supplement line, and one of the herbs that I have is red raspberry leaf. And I'm finding in my practice, I have clients that are, one client, I think she went like 2 to 3 years. I'm trying to remember how long she went without her cycle. But after doing the regimen that I told her to, her cycle came back. She felt like, because it's a tonic, reproductive tonic, so it tones reproductive system. And she even mentioned like it feels like everything's tighter down there. She had her sex drive back. Yeah, it's just, that is like the best feeling ever, is helping people, in those situations.
That's where really we go to, is that like, yes, we're going to clear up the pain. Yes, we're going to clear up everything that is causing you discomfort. But in reality, we're bringing your life back. And that's what I talk to people about. Day one is like, okay, you have a headache, you have some back pain, but like, what else do you want to heal? Like, what do you want to go into? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your family and your foundation to be built off of? Like, that's what we're doing at the Source Chiropractic. Like, we're healing, period.
Curious if you've heard of any of the thing that Sabrina Wallace is talking about the wide body area network.
I am not familiar with it, but bring me up to speed. I love it.
So work with me on my explaining of this, because it's very like advanced level of what she's talking about. So how we have a biofield. Yes. She's claiming that basically they're harvesting data on our blood cells, because we are electromagnetic beings, and it can hold, somehow they figured out a way to have our blood cells hold data. And they actually have already been having, like, Amazon has purchased data space off of the wide body area network, which is literally from us. So like they're connecting us to the Internet of Things. And it's interesting, like the nanotech that's being claimed to be in the COVID vaccine. And her theory is that just kind of like plugs you deeper into this Internet of Things. That's what they're bringing everyone into.
Yep. I agree with it. Yeah, that's where a lot of us are starting to notice, like energetic practitioners who have been on the energy scale, is that it can be hacked into. And that's what's really, it's a scary piece of like, they're subconsciously taking it from us, but it reinforces my purpose and my passion on this like mission field, is to reconnect people with nature and reconnect people with themselves, because that's the only way we're gonna fight this. That's the only way that our society is gonna survive and stay human, is to deeper the consciousness by connecting with nature and connecting into feeding out that energy, and not getting connected and so far away from it. That's what I really fear with the AI coming into play, is that everything's about to be automatic and we're getting farther and farther away from humanity.
Have you heard about the telepathy tapes?
I have not.
Do Dude, you gotta look this up. It's all about, okay, so it's this lady who goes around and interviews these parents of autistic children. And the parents share these stories basically of how their child was able to read minds, basically. One shared a story of how they had a horse farm. And one of the horses was really sad. And so the mother asked the autistic child, she goes, why do you think this horse is sad? And the child goes, oh, the horse is sad because the other horse died. Mind you, no other person knew that there was a dead horse yet. And so they end up finding the dead horse, and the mom goes, how did you know this? And the child goes, the horse told me. So you know how horses are energetic beings as well? Yeah. So cool. But yeah, you need to go into that rabbit hole. It's crazy.
I've always known that instinctually. Like, I was one that was a later talker. If you look into autistic kids, they are usually don't speak for the first few years of life. They're late to speak, which is why the world labels them disbroken or dismantled and puts us into the retard category. But autistic kids are actually more intelligent than anyone in the world. They are, I fully believe that they can communicate. I've seen it in my office when I have little kiddos come in here. Especially in the early age, like when they're a toddler, they're walking around and they're looking at me just like speaking through my soul. And I always tell their parents, I'm like, your kid's very special. And I'll always ask them, like, have they started talking yet? And they're like, no, she really doesn't talk that much. And I'm like, watch for what she's passionate about and then feed her there, because your kiddo is very, very intelligent. And there's no need to talk because she already understands everything. Usually they're really good at picking up energy. So noticing your subtle cues that they don't even need to talk, or you don't even need to talk to them. They already understand what's going on before someone speaks, which is powerful in my eye.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty wild. Have you learned the connection between like autism and the MTHFR gene mutation?
Yes, we don't actually test it, and sometimes I don't ever bring it up. I just start talking to people about it, of like, let's look into it. It could be something that we need to look into. Really, I go into heavy metal detox with autistic kids. That's the first place I'm going. And to clear the nervous system. That's really where my role stands. I'll educate parents and like give them a little bit of like, here's the next steps. In my office, usually when they find me, they're super overwhelmed. So they think they're broken. They've been told by pediatricians that they're broken. Usually it's been told that the mom is the fault. Like there's somebody to blame. So when I get them, I'm like, you're fine. You're fine. We don't need to do anything else. Let's clear the nervous system. Let's get grounded. Once we're there, then we can start talking about all of these other things to help them succeed in the future and help make sure that they have a healthy lifestyle growing. But in the beginning, man, I have heard horror stories about things that pediatricians have told moms of autistic kids, and just the families that are being broken apart by what is being told to them. So that's where I talk about it in the later stages, but initially I'm just wanting to witness them, just see your kid's not broken. We just have some things that we need to work with and work through. So
it's interesting. I'm notice animals like horses, right? Very energetic, but I'm noticing with animals they also can almost have a telepathy.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've experienced
that.
Oh yeah.
I was like glued to animals as a kid because they were just their energy is so pure. Their energy is so clean, and you can just like have that really like soul to soul connection where I was a weirdo as a kid. I loved animals, just being with them. It's a pure, you can communicate to them. It's so amazing. And a lot of people don't see that for what it is, but it really is a superpower. It's awesome.
Back to the biofield, have you ever met anyone or heard of anyone who claimed that they could see people's auras?
I have a lot, a lot in my practice, so much. We see that all the time. A lot of what I do is just reading energy, whether it is like the physical, the emotional, but also like going into what is around people and what's within them, and then what that projects. as well. So, yeah, we see that all the time.
There's a place in Detroit, Michigan that you can go that has, it's called Kirkland Photography, and that's where they take a photo of your aura, your biofield.
Yeah.
And after I got that done, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get a camera because this is so cool. Because like, imagine taking a before and after of your clients to show how as their health improves, so does their aura. Anyways, that camera is just like crazy expensive.
I was about to say, I have had the camera done. It was a really cool thing to experience. I am curious to see like how it shifts throughout care. I think that would be such a fun advocate. I have looked at, the camera's so expensive.
It's so expensive. But it's so cool. What's your favorite latest like biohacking? Whether it's a device or red light or anything.
So this, we're gonna go on a rabbit hole here, but I feel like we're in the space too. My favorite biohacking thing that I use is combo. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay. Combo. So I am a combo practitioner. What combo is a frog venom. So it is a indigenous practice that was taken and indoctrinated over here in the States. People have started learning. I got to be trained by Cosmovisions, which is an amazing company. And when I say company, I mean it's a family of indigenous leaders that are teaching people how to facilitate. So I got facilitated through this, got into it by healing my gut. It is a frog venom that is secreted from the frog. And it is then burned onto the skin. So there's an outlet or a gate.
I've seen videos of this.
It's starting to really get popular in the States, which is really cool. It's non-psychedelic, but it has billions of peptides that are administrators through those gates, that venom comes into our system in that microdose. And it is billions of peptides introduced into the system, accessing into the lymphatic system, which is through our entire body. Instantly, within 2 minutes, it is clearing the lymphatic system, pulling the bile. There is a purge process with it, which is why so many people are like making it popular, is they're seeing people throw up into these buckets. But that's been my like level of biohack that I've done. Of course, I love sauna, cold plunge, and red light. Like those are my three that I do weekly, if not daily. But the combo has been really something that has aided me in connecting back to nature and clearing the system of those toxins that I maybe come in contact with through people just seeing people with vaccines, that's shedding, or when there's sickness and stuff like that. Like that's a way, it cleans the blood as well because it does break the blood-brain barrier. So it's cleaning out the blood, cleaning out the system, pulling the bacteria from the gut. And so it's a good reset. I use it as a reset, and I also do, just owning a practice and building a practice, a lot of stress. I do like microdose with it now. And still facilitate it. I believe that if I'm facilitating it, I need to be doing it. So I continue to microdose, especially doing full big ceremonies right before facilitating other people.
Nice. This month I'm taking a live blood analysis class, so that makes me think. Now I'm just like obsessed with like, oh, I could do an experiment. And I'm like, I could do a before and after of that and see what it looks like.
That is my favorite. I will look into research, but my favorite type of research is just going in head first and like, let's see what this looks like. Let's see what it does to my system, so I know how to facilitate it for other people.
Absolutely. I have some sound bowls, and I have this brainwave measuring device. And I had my friend who's a naturopathic doctor. She was like, let's do an experiment. So she laid down, like, resting, and I started playing the bowls. And we had it hooked up so we could see the graph live time. And as I played the bowls, all of the brain waves merged together in like a perfect like symphony instantly. And yeah, it's really cool. And then you could do breathing as well with breathing exercises. And it shows as you're taking those deep intentional breaths, the way it's manipulating the brain waves to do a pretty similar way, just like the sound bowls does.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I never really like cared about like breathing exercises, right? When we were like learning about it, I'm like, okay. And then once I saw that, I'm like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
There's something to it.
The breath is truly a quote that I always hear. One of my mentors would always say, the quality of your breath is the quality of your life. And I tell that to all clients now. I'm like, okay, let's go into our breath, because that's really what allows our nervous system intuitively, innately to facilitate through breath of connecting our whole system. It's so powerful.
My current 9-to-5 is working for this durable medical equipment company that supplies things like CPAP machines and ventilators, and so I work with a respiratory therapist. And I was talking to her, I was like, I learned that if you correct mouth breathing when children are young, you can prevent them from needing to be on CPAP for the rest of their life. And like no one believes me. I show them the proof of everything, who discovered this. They just they can't even handle it because of the cognitive dissonance. Like, nobody wants to talk about this. To me, this is a really important conversation to have. Like, we have all these people coming in for CPAP when we could correct their mouth breathing.
Exactly. That's what, and going even a step farther, a lot of the stuff what we'll see is like the tongue ties and the lip ties that then lead into that dysregulated mouth breathing. And it's just from tension that was built up in womb, like when they were in the womb of their mom. And when they're developing, that tension gets pulled in their mouth, or even through birth, or like early childhood, of just like, if we go straight into bottle feeding, there's a lot of times that fascial system is pulling on the mouth, and then they can't structurally do it, so then they start mouth breathing, and then that leads to everything else down the line. It's really cool seeing those people.
It even impacts like the way their teeth develop. And not developing straight.
Absolutely. That is 1000%. I fully have been on the deep dive of the dental industry and seeing how much can actually be restructured with breath. That when we're putting braces on kids, but we're not changing the breathing pattern, as soon as those braces come off, a lot of the times they revert straight back because that pattern is still there, or that band of tension is still there. And then they have to wear a retainer. They're trying to maintain this position, but all that really needs to be fixed is their breath pattern and their tension that they have in their mouth. Wild.
Do you work with any pregnant moms?
Oh, I love pregnant moms. Chiropractors are loved by the pregnant mom community because one, we do help with pain. And it's so wild. Again, my favorite communication style is just debunking what society has told is normal. So a lot of moms come in and they're like, oh, I have deep pelvic pain, I can't move, I can't breathe, but that's normal. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not supposed to be normal. It's very common, but it's not normal to be in excruciating pain during your pregnancy. So I love working with moms. Moms, especially the way of development throughout pregnancy leads into a beautiful birth. So I worked in mission fields as a high schooler into college of seeing these like raw births in medical hospitals, and it's terrifying and excruciating. And seeing women on their back where their pelvis is shifted, which then led into me as a chiropractor. Now I'm starting to see just simple pelvic alignment opens up the space for baby to come through. What does that look like if we have zero tension in the pelvic floor? Pelvis is aligned. We have mom connected to herself, to baby. There's that relationship there. I've seen birth where there's little to no pain. Of course, it's going to be a little painful. You're having a child come through you. But I've seen it I've seen so many home births that are just so blissfully intelligent that our bodies are working with our system in delivering this baby. We have everything inside of us. I mean, there's an eject button. Most people don't know that. There's an eject button for baby, that if we're in tune with our systems, baby can come out easily. We don't have to be on our backs in so much pain and how baby gets stuck because the pelvis is shifted. We have to pull baby out. I love helping moms, especially in the postpartum area as well, of having a lot of moms disconnect or some type of, a lot of the people I get in are people who have had really traumatic birth stories and they're disconnected from, like, either cycle has never came back after a couple years post breastfeeding, which can then dysregulate everything in general, or just the emotional trauma of my baby was taken away from me for 4 days. I didn't get to see them. I didn't get to see him or her connect with our family, connect with me. I felt all of the emotional aspects of having, my brain is now wired to protect this child and I haven't seen it yet. I love helping regain that connection and making sure, like, yes, the physical is taken care of, but also emotionally, like, we are now connected with the family again, because a lot of the times moms live disconnected from their kiddos, and then that's what shows up later as, like, childhood development and all of the stuff that kids go through of not being connected with mom. And it goes back to baby was immediately rushed off. You look at those kids and there's signs, there's things that happen in that hospital room that disconnected the mom and the baby. So that's, I love helping that community. That's my favorite passion project.
I remember in my one of my classes, they taught us how pregnant women, like the postpartum depression that they have after you give birth, you're just extremely depleted in manganese, I believe it was. And so if you replenish that, it helps with the postpartum. But I also remember learning about people who get their placentas, like, encapsulated, and they take it like a daily vitamin to help nourish. I'm assuming it has to contain manganese.
Yep. Yeah, it consumes so many nutrients that is really needed to help that postpartum.
Have you ever had any clients that are pregnant that deal with the morning sickness times 1,000,000? I can't remember what it's called. It's got like a long name. It's HG or something. Hypergravious.
I know. I have, like, a lot of the morning sickness mamas, especially when dealing with, I've had moms that are, like, really, really sick throughout their entire pregnancy. Like, that's a full red flag for me. Like, especially in the beginning, there can be, again, it's common but not normal to have that morning sickness. However, especially seeing it in the second to third trimester, I'm like, we've got some red flags. I know maybe you've seen some of my stuff with raw milk, but raw milk is actually incredible for,
it's amazing,
for morning sickness in mamas.
Oh.
Usually, it depends on how woo-woo my mamas are. Because some moms are like, that's terrifying, I'm not doing it. And then that conscious scarcity mindset, I'm like, okay, we're not going to push it. We'll go other nutritional roads. But actually, my moms that are really into and they trust their bodies, they trust their systems, raw milk actually is incredible. From a good source, from a good place, it can be really helpful for morning sickness in moms.
Nice. Now, are you also a fan of, like, raw goat's milk?
Love it. Absolutely love it. I was actually lactose intolerant. I could not handle milk or any dairy product. Like, if I had a pizza with a lot of cheese, just, I'm out for the night. See ya, have a great time at the movies. Like, I'm going home. It destroyed my gut. So I had a practice member, actually, he gets goat's milk, raw goat's milk, from an Amish farm and here in Texas. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. Give it to me on my off day. I'll try it. Started out with the raw goat's milk. That really helped introduce me to new gut bacteria. My gut started to accumulate and adapt to the dairy. Then I started doing raw A2 milk, and now I can do raw milk, raw cow's milk. Even now, I can get a whole milk latte at a coffee shop, which was, my mom was in town this weekend and she was like, you're getting whole milk in your coffee? Like, who are you? She's like, I don't want to be near you the rest of the day. I'm like, actually, my body is more adaptable to it, even just through the process of reintroducing healthy dairy into my gut. I can now sustain the toxic dairy products that society gives us in small forms.
I've heard of mothers who have like newborn babies that they're breastfeeding, right? And all of a sudden the baby's becoming colicky. So I've heard how if the mom changes her diet, let's say she switches to goat's milk instead of cow's milk, and then switches to duck eggs instead of chicken eggs. Then like 3 days later, the colicky baby is no longer colicky, and they just maintain that diet.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I always talk to moms about that. The goat's milk is really amazing. I think it was like someone really popular on Instagram. It was like, are you gonna give, like, what does your baby look like, a goat or a cow? Do you want to be giving cow's milk to your baby? It's gonna look like a cow. It's not that big, so we need to be giving him goat's milk because that's the best example and replication and mirror image of a baby is not a baby cow. It's more of a baby goat and the nutritional needs that it needs.
Makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. What are any like herbs or supplements that you recommend to clients to help through whether it's pregnancy or postpartum or just reproductive?
So always when love them, they're really helpful and needed for clients. My first conversation though is to talk about nervous system regulation because I used to take all of these supplements and none of them actually worked because my nervous system was not adaptable to actually absorb them, so I was just wasting a bunch of money. So my first thing is making sure nervous system works. I'll always tell people, I'm like, let's do a couple months of care. Let's get into finding that nervous system rhythm. Our body has a natural rhythm within its system that almost creates this like wave of spinal flow. And once that is established, let's start supplementation and whatever we need. But I always love to educate people that our body has everything it needs. Yes, our food industry destroys that. So that's where supplementation can really come in handy. But I always tell people, like, what are we supplementing and why is it not working? I want to get it working first before we supplement. For women's health, my favorite one is Heart and Soil. I've been using them for about 3 years. They have amazing products. That is where any women with PCOS, endometriosis, a lot of like fibrotic cysts, I'm sending them to Heart and Soil because a lot of the times women, every woman that I've met in my office that has PCOS doesn't eat meat. So getting them back on, getting them back on animal products can be difficult. If they haven't eaten red meat for years, it's going to be a adaptation period where we're introducing food. Their gut's going to be a little disrupted, just because they haven't had it in a while. I always get them on Heart and Soil. Their women's blend is amazing because I am biohacker lover. I will put venom on my skin forever, but however, eating a raw beef organ, not my favorite. I have done it. I'll do it again. But if you put it in a pretty little capsule form, I'm gonna take that capsule. So it's like, I don't know how I feel about cutting up a cow's uterus and eating it. Like, that's what they're putting in there. They're putting all of the really grass-fed, clean, locally sourced things in the reproductive system of a female into those capsules, and it is so powerful. My cycle just shifted so much, even when I thought it couldn't shift anymore into health and presence. It really shifted into that after taking Heart and Soil. I love it. That's my number one recommended.
Do you ever see parasite issues in your practice?
Oh yeah, all the time. I've actually created like a little feeling for feeling them. I like put my hands on somebody and I'm like, we've got to do a little detox, friend. Zeolite is my favorite. If you don't have crazy security clearance, Nuvita is an amazing brand that has the CBD. I've done lots of zeolite detoxes. I really love Nuvita's because it has the CBG in it that actually controls the gut.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, they paired CBG. I didn't know that.
They did.
I love that.
That's what I love too, because like having a very sensitive gut, I do. And as much as I really work on it, sometimes a parasite cleanse can be a lot for my system, or it takes me out for a week. So that's where I love theirs the best. I think it's like a detox blend, I think they call it. It's on their website. It's amazing. I recommend that to everyone who we're doing some type of parasite cleanse or heavy metal cleanse. Like that's what I'm really recommending now, just because it's good.
Yeah. And it helps support their endocannabinoid system, which I recently learned how like all of the blue light from the technology that we're exposed to affects our endocannabinoid system.
It is.
And so Dr. Jack Cruz was saying if you're a tech person, right, if you work in big tech or whatever, consume cannabis products because your endocannabinoid system's depleted and that'll help that. And I was like, what did I just hear him say?
Yes! Finally! Right.
Right?
Amazing. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, last November, the naturopath that did the energy work on me, I had a health consultation with her, and one of the things that she recommended me was to get on like a CBD product, and I'm like, wait, what? You're recommending me get on a CBD product? She's like, yes.
I've really journeyed into like the CBD, CBG, CBN network, and my gosh, I'm in love with their products. They have been so helpful. I mean, it's amazing, the stuff that even just like keeping us cognitively alive. Like I can take it during practice. I can really be in my body still without having to like do it at home or anything like that. Like it's something that I can take after a meal. Like CBG clears it up. Just if we, want to go out to eat and something doesn't sit right, like it's an immediate relief that helps integrate the system without blocking some of those neural pathways that we need.
Yeah. It's amazing. I recently had a naturopath. Her name is Dr. Rosetta Kawauchi, and she is an endocannabinoid specialist. She got additional education on it, but she's got 2 autistic children, and one of the behavioral techs that used to work with her boys that was just so well with them told her how he also has a cannabis grow. Set up, so it changed her view, because she used to view anyone related to cannabis as kind of like a loser type thing. And so then she learned about how it's helping with her boys with autism and learned all about it.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I used to work in a dispensary, and I had this lady come in, and she was talking about how she was having a lot of joint pain and neuropathy pain. And we had, I think it was THCA in a capsule form that we sold. And so I recommended that to help her, and she went home. She showed up a month later, and she's like, I ran out of it, and I'm on day 2 without it, and the pain's back, so that's why I'm back in here buying it. And I was like, oh, it worked.
That
nice.
is amazing. No, I had one of an emergency case the other day of someone who came in and had a really big disc issue. I mean, really big injury. Most chiropractors would have sent them out and been like, sorry, he hardly walked in the door. And one of my things was okay, can we stay away from Tylenol? Let's stay away from traditional pain relievers, because that's only gonna block the pain, and I wanna know where the pain's coming from. And so I was like, how are you with CBD products? And he was like, I'm from LA, I love this, let's go. And I was like, sick, because we were able to not have where he could still get through his day and not be in just excruciating pain. That CBD added a little bit of relief, but it didn't disconnect him from the pain. He still was able to feel, okay, the sensations in my body, where are they going, versus Tylenol or something like that would have just shut off those centers. And it's okay, I'm now disconnected from it. And I was telling him, I was like, we want to learn from this pain. We want to learn why it showed up and how it's healing, and you need to feel this all the way through the healing process. So it's been really fun to use CBD products in that way, of being able to recommend really good, clean CBD products to clients who need it to help some of that inflammation.
Yeah, I remember actually the first time I tried Nuvita's CBD, Because I remember before, I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, everyone's hyping up this CBD stuff, and then when I tried it, I was like, my nervous system was so chill.
Oh, it's amazing.
Like I remember when it hit it, I was like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, I get it. I get it now.
Not just the hype. Yeah.
I agree. We've been using it. I use it probably like every other day. It's awesome. It's amazing. It's so great.
Yes, love that. Well, thanks for coming on. We should do this again in the future.
I love it. It was a pleasure.